Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Tel Aviv. Coming up in today's newscast, former Israeli President Shimon Peres is in the hospital again. Israel retaliates against a Gaza rocket attack, and a 90-year-old Auschwitz survivor awes the world. I'm Natasha Kirchak here with the latest news in Israel. For the second time in the last 2 weeks, former President Shimon Peres has been rushed to the hospital with chest pains.
The 92-year-old leader complained of pressure in his chest last night and was taken to Sheba Hospital in an ambulance. Peres has been diagnosed with an irregular heartbeat, but doctors say that he's doing great.
This evening he felt a slight discomfort, and we diagnosed that he has some difficulty with the rhythm of the heart, which is called atrial fibrillation. He was taken to the hospital, he's feeling perfectly well, and this heart rhythm disturbance is over already spontaneously without even need for treatment.
Peres was hospitalized for 5 days last week after suffering a mild heart attack on January 14th. The former prime minister and president reportedly felt better last night once he made it to the hospital, but he's still being held for observation.
Israeli warplanes struck terrorist targets in the Gaza Strip this morning in retaliation for a rocket fired at southern Israel.
The Air Force hit training camps near the south and center of Gaza, which belong to the armed wing of Hamas Izzadin al-Qassam. There were no injuries reported. The Air Force acted after a terrorist rocket was fired at southern Israel hours earlier. No damage was caused by the missile, but it was the third fired at Israel since the start of the new year.
A media watchdog has uncovered efforts to stop evangelical Christians from supporting Israel.
The organization Camera monitors coverage of the Middle East to expose anti-Israel bias. It turns out the media watchdog has discovered a revisionist theology invented to serve pro-Palestinian views. According to Camera, Palestinian activists and some evangelical Christians have tried to separate Jesus from his Jewishness as part of their attempt to erase Jewish history in the Middle East. The revisionist narrative describes Jesus as a Palestinian, and apparently a growing number of evangelicals are buying into the rewriting of history.
It looks like a major cabinet dispute has been resolved. Yesterday, right-wing settlers were evicted from 2 buildings in Hebron, causing an uproar within the government coalition.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has created a ministerial panel that effectively strips Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon of his power to evict settlers. Netanyahu's move aims to calm tensions in his coalition, following the forced evacuation of the settlers from Hebron on Friday. The buildings in question were reportedly purchased by Jews, but the residents lacked the defense minister's approval to inhabit them. The new settlement committee comes at the request of Habayit Yehudi leader Naftali Bennett, but Netanyahu has not yet announced which ministers will serve on the committee. The move follows threats from several coalition lawmakers to vote against the government in upcoming Knesset votes if the Hebron issue is not resolved.
Eden Reichel is perhaps one of the most influential Israeli musicians in the world. He's a singer, a songwriter, a pianist, and he can even play the accordion. But he's especially known for his distinctive musical fusion, which brings together artists from all over Middle East and Africa. While some people might label his work as world music, he likes to call it Israeli. I personally grew up with his music, and I can tell you it makes me proud to be Israeli every time I hear it.
חוזרים, עוטפים אחרי השמש, שבויים בתוך מעגלים, כולם מסובכים, אז מה את עוד חולמת? שנים הם מסתירים, שנים כולם יודעים, אבן מתהפכת, בלילות ובימים, כולם כבר מדברים.
I'm so excited to have Eden Reichel join us in the studio. We've met in the past, and you know I'm a huge fan.
Thank
you. Congratulations on this new album you have coming out. It's the first time you're going solo, essentially.
Yes, thank you for having me here. Celebrating the new release, the new album. A solo album for the first time after 12 years with the Eden Reichel project. But still, the Eden Reichel project is live and kicking. It's just a parallel, just another path of the career.
So why did you decide to do this instead of just, doing the normal group thing that you guys do?
The songs are very personal, about my family, about the daughters. I felt that it's more kind of my inner voice that I would like to share with the listeners.
So your albums typically gather music artists from all over the world. You have from Ethiopia to Argentina, everywhere. Why is that? Why do you guys choose to come together in this way?
We're traveling all over the world and meeting amazing artists, from Alicia Keys in Central Park, New York, to one of the greatest countertenors in the world, Andreas Scholl from Germany, Patrick Boel from France, Vieux-Farka Touré from Mali. I think that everyone together, we're building bridges through music, and it's just a great adventure for the past 12 years.
And so what's amazing is that each of these artists are extremely talented on their own, but they decide to come together and perform as a group, Where is the ego in this equation?
Yeah. So I think it's about, always it's about three parameters. One is that each one of them is an amazing solo artist. Second, that they are willing to share the stage, sometimes to do back vocals. And the third thing, that it will be just good people to be on the road, good people to spend time with. And I think that we are proudly represent the soundtrack of Israel the past 10 years.
Which is interesting, right? Because you're known as having this world music, but you like to say that it's Israeli.
When we are playing music in Israel, people define it as Israeli mainstream. Once you're touring outside of Israel, people would define it as world music, which is actually a great compliment, because world music artists are all those artists who are bringing the soundtrack of the place that they came from. Edith Piaf from France, or Bob Marley, who became the voice of Jamaica, or Mercedes Sosa for Argentina. So if people go out after our concert and remember this as Israeli music, it's the greatest compliment for us.
So a lot of people argue that your music is actually promoting peace in a lot of senses because it's so intercultural. Is that a message that you're trying to send?
Of course, but we are making music, just music, but the side effects, you can definitely understand this, because you can see super extremely right-wing people singing side by side with very left-wing, up to Ali Amr from Ramallah or Mira Anwar Awad. It's the first time we brought for the first time the Arabic language to the Israeli mainstream. I think that, I have a very strong political view, but the reason that I'm not saying it, because I feel that at my back, I feel that I'm leading all these over 150 musicians, singers from all over.
So you're bringing all these people together. I mean, do you believe that music in Israel should be geared politically? Should it be promoting a certain message?
Every artist can choose his path. I feel that what we're doing is building bridges between cultures and between nations through music. But it's important to remember that what we're actually doing is music. First and foremost, we are creating music. If people can take it to other places, I'm very honored to contribute to this, but the essence is being a musician.
Well, your music is music that is now all over the world, and you travel and go on world tours all the time.
Yes.
I met you last year in the US.
Yes.
And so how would you say your music is being received? Is it being received differently because you're an Israeli artist? Is your identity as an Israeli affect how people listen to your music?
Well, I feel that we are carrying our being Israeli all over the world on our shoulders, but proudly. Everywhere in the world there will be calls to boycott the music as part of the BDS movement, to boycott our concerts. But I feel that it's a great opportunity to go out to all these people who choose to protest against us, and to explain us that the voice of artists should not be muted. And I would love to see in all these great performing arts centers that we are performing in the USA, I would love to come an evening before, a night after, to listen to music from Lebanon or Palestinian artists or Iranian artists. I think that this might be an interesting role for all these artists.
Absolutely. So what is the future now? You have this album on your own. You still have the Eden Reichel project. What's next?
Well, once you have two daughters, one is 6 months and one is 2 years, you don't think so much to the future. You think, let's sleep in the night as much as we can.
I can only imagine. Yeah, so you have a 6-year-old, you said, and a 2-year-old as well?
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of work. That's
Especially
not easy.
to applause to the mother, yes.
So where can we see you performing next? That is what our viewers want to know.
I'm playing every day, playing now solo piano concerts to launch the new album. On February at the port of Tel Aviv, we're taking 10 concerts in a row with the Eden Reichel project.
Wow.
If you intend to be in Israel, come over. And we'll around February 19th, we'll be around again on the road on Europe. The best is just to track us, to follow me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and then you'll see all our tour dates.
Absolutely. Well, I cannot wait to see you perform again.
Thank
you.
Thank
you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me
And
here.
everybody listen to his new album.
Yes.
We get to hear Eden alone, so it's nice.
Thank you.
All right, so here's some exciting historical news for you. The Israeli cabinet has unanimously approved the appointment of an Arab woman to the economy ministry.
Attorney Mariam Kabha has been named as a National Commissioner for Equal Employment Opportunities, making her the highest-ranking Arab female in the civil service. Kabha was chosen for the position from among 60 candidates. Prior to the appointment, she held the same position in Haifa in the Northern District. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says her appointment was made with high symbolic and practical importance, especially since the government aims to increase employment among Arab women and ultra-Orthodox men.
A 90-year-old Holocaust survivor has taken to the stage to memorialize the 1945 liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp. And you won't believe what a talented dancer she is.
90-year-old Eva Fahidi is from Hungary, and she was only 18 years old when she was put on a train and deported to Auschwitz. 29 of her relatives perished in the Holocaust, including her parents and her little sister. It took Fahidi nearly 60 years before she was ready to open up about her trauma, and most recently she's decided to do so by dancing.
Hogy eljutottam odáig, hogy most tudok róla beszélni. Én tudom, hogy az teljesen kortalan, hogy az embernek mikor, miben van a kiélési formája. Mindig van valami, csak akarni kell, meg csinálni kell. Hát mondj még egy 90 éveset az én koromban.
Én nem ismerek más 90 évest.
Igen.
És olyat meg pláne nem, aki kortárs táncelőadásban
Igen.
akar szerepelni.
Igen.
Fahidi stars in an 100-minute show called The Euphoria of Being with a much younger dancer, and the dance performance has already played to full houses 8 different times in Budapest. It finally premiered in Berlin last night, just 3 days before Holocaust Memorial Day.
Nagyon el akarom mondani, amit akarok, és minden létező dologgal ki akarom fejezni.
That gives me chills. It's time for our Hebrew word of the day. We're so inspired by Eva Fahidi's amazing determination and the strength of those who survived the Holocaust. Which brings us to today's word, koach, which means strength in Hebrew. In the Bible, koach is usually used to reference God's power, but in contemporary Hebrew, the word has a lot more uses. Koach can mean strength, courage, power, ability, control, stamina, force, gravity, and more. It's also used in some of the most popular Israeli phrases. If an Israeli says, "Ein li koach," he's trying to say he doesn't have any more strength, both literally and figuratively. The phrase can be used when you're tired or annoyed. But here's the good news. Yesh li koach, or I have strength, is also pretty common. So I hope that you have koach for the rest of the work week. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Have your umbrella ready because the rain is continuing. Tuesday is supposed to be rainy with a high of 52. The good news is that the stormy weather should clear up by Wednesday, and Tel Aviv can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 54. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.98 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at ILTV.tv, and don't forget to check out our nightly news brief every evening at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.